evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Jo Brand. In the news this week, in Surrey there's a surprise at one local gym as Brian Blessed turns up to inquire about membership. On location for the Grand Tour, producers make sure they have everything ready for Jeremy Clarkson the moment he finishes filming. And in a hotel room before Crufts, a talented competitor prepares himself mentally with some snacks from the minibar. On Ian's team tonight is a comedian whose flights of whimsical nonsense are so funny it can be impossible to shut him up. A bit like a preacher at the royal wedding. Please welcome Ross Noble. And with Paul tonight is a journalist, statistician and data analyst who's probably the only person interested in the fact that after 484 shows, she's our 511th new guest. Will you please welcome Mona Chalabi? And we start with the biggest stories of the week. Ian and Ross, take a look at this.
Oh, that's the royal wedding, George Clooney and Elton John. Oh, that's Elton John. And that's... Boris wants a plane to fly around the world drumming up new trade deals.
Why does he particularly want a plane, though?
Well, trains don't work over water.
No. He said, look, I'm on record, we definitely need a flagship. And he can put Brexit slogans on the side of his plane if he gets one and call it Lion Air. So that would be good. I'd quite like to see him on one of those bikes like at the end of E.T. He'd go on a Boris bike and just go up...
in his suit with that helmet that's too small that he always wears. Boris, loosen it off at the back. Just loosen it. It's like here, on the top of his head. He rides around like a mushroom.
Now, what's wrong with him wanting a plane?
Well, he's Foreign Secretary, and it's much better if he doesn't go anywhere.
Well, the thing is, actually, the government have already got a plane. There's an Airbus called Voyager, which David Cameron bought for himself for £10 million. What's Boris's problem with it?
He doesn't like it because it's grey, and he also said that it's never available. He wants to use it more often.
Does he not know that's what people do? They go, oh, Boris, you want to borrow the plane? Oh, it's all booked. Sorry, Andrea Leadsom's got it for a week.
Well, the plane that's already in existence technically still fulfills a military function by refuelling other planes mid-flight. But he could sort of help with that, couldn't he?
Oh, God, how terrifying would that be? Could you imagine, if you're just off on holiday, you're on the EasyJet, and you just look out onto the wing, and there's Boris with a pump. Bring it in closer!
How was Boris made to look a bit foolish this week?
He had his photograph taken. He was hoaxed. He had a conversation with somebody without knowing that they were actually a hoaxer.
He was a Russian.
A Russian?
Yeah, who was pretending to be the Prime Minister of Armenia.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's right. He congratulated the caller on his election before discussing UK-Russia relations and the Salisbury poisoning.
But they released a statement afterwards saying Boris rapidly realised this was a joke and called it off. And it was, what, 18 minutes?
What might have been the weak link in government security here?
Boris.
Yep, next.
OK. Meanwhile, the House of Lords haven't really been helping Theresa May recently. Who called them dinosaurs in ermine?
It was the Daily Mail.
Indeed.
And they had a big rant, as usual, about these sort of lords who try and influence opinion without being elected. The paper owned by Lord Rothermere.
Well, the Daily Mail, in that piece, they did a poll with comrades in order to, you know, say how much people don't support the House of Lords anymore. And in the poll, it's all about the wording for these things. So they included questions like, it would be wrong for the House of Lords to try to thwart Brexit. Agree or disagree? So all of them were completely biased, so it's no wonder that they got the results that they did.
Actually, I know I'm coming across. I'm really glad you're on, because you're Mona and I'm Ramona.
Are we sure it was an actual criticism? Because it sounds to me like an excellent suggestion for the new Jurassic Park movie. Dinosaurs in Irma. Just gone swishing in like, Hi there.
Are they very camp dinosaurs?
That's why they died out.
What have the Conservatives been trying to do with young people?
Oh, trying to give them Nando's, aren't they? Trying to... why? This is the right answer, and everybody laughs. This is why I've been turned down for the Newsnight job again and again and again. And I'm sick of it.
Have you ever been to Nando's, Ian?
I'm there all the time.
If you've not been to one, the classiest thing about it is it's the only restaurant in Britain that has a sink in the restaurant, not in the toilet. And I think that is the most civilised thing any restaurant... Because you've eaten your dinner and you're all covered and you don't want to go into the toilet. Well, there's a sink just...
Is there no cutlery?
I mean...
Is there a sommelier?
Oh, some of the people in there you couldn't get smelly. Oh, I love it.
Now, no one will be able to accuse the Labour Party of anti-Semitism anymore, will they? Why is that?
Ken Livingstone has left the party because he's a distraction. So he says.
He's been forcibly allowed to resign. So, now, what did Ken Livingstone have to say about it?
Well, he gave one of those non-apologies, and he said that he and Jeremy had always agreed about everything. So, literally, as he left the party, he put the boot in.
He said, it's a complete distraction from the serious issues of the day, although I can't recall a time when me and Jeremy disagreed about a policy, and I don't know if he agrees with me about Hitler and Zionism. Well done, Ken. Let's put that to bed. Meanwhile, how has Labour activist David Lewis managed to get on a women-only shortlist for the job of local Basingstoke Labour Party women's officer?
Oh. Did he put a dress on? Did he make himself up as a woman and took a photograph?
Well, what he did was he applied under party rules which allow candidates to apply if they self-identify as a woman.
Oh, yeah, so he said he identifies as a woman one day a week, didn't he?
On Wednesdays between 6:50 and midnight.
And let me guess, is that when he gets everything done?
He said, I keep my name and male pronouns. I make no changes to my appearance. I keep my beard. I enjoy the full womanness of my beard. Don't we all? And he was hoping that his application would be turned down to highlight how ridiculous Labour's rules were. But what happened?
They gave him the job.
They accepted his application.
Yeah. Well, it's the same principle as choosing a leader. Let's just make it so silly no one will pick him. Oh, it's Jeremy.
Or did they say, you can have the job, but we're just going to pay you less? Hey, come on! Yeah. Come on! On your side, sisters.
I think you'll find sisters are fucking doing it for themselves. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, he had his application accepted and then he was suspended by the Labour Party. This is the continuing attempt to thwart the government's Brexit plans by the House of Lords. The Daily Mail revealed that one of the leading opponents of the House of Lords is Jacob Rees-Mogg. To be fair, it's probably all a bit modern for him. He's still not come to terms with the round table disappearing. Ken Livingstone finally resigned from the Labour Party this week. Labour MP Ruth Smeeth wrote that his toxic views no longer pollute our party. Good riddance. Most people just sign the card, good luck, Ken. Paul and Mona, take a look at this.
This is the Addison Lee new drivers. That's the man making the coffee for the day. And there is a whole bunch of people out of step. One bloke that's in step is in the front there, and someone's nicked the roof of their car. So, yeah, this was a very happy event for people who like this sort of thing. Amidst the sort of plethora of bad news, here was something that people who enjoy weddings could watch and look at and admire.
Did you watch it?
No. Well, it was a sunny day, so I didn't want to be indoors.
Fair enough.
I didn't watch it because I'm single and miserable.
Can I just say, it doesn't necessarily follow if you find someone that it'll cheer you up. I'm married and miserable.
But you're wearing Amal's colour.
I coordinated with her, yeah. All Arabs are related, aren't they? So she's basically like a cousin.
I have to say, I know it's wrong to just talk about the way people look, but I have to say, Hugh Edwards, come on. I mean, Hugh Edwards.
Was he stunning?
Oh, my God. He's the true Prince of Wales. Honestly, Hugh Edwards. Few Edwards, indeed. Yeah. In many ways, he is the Pippa Middleton of this wedding. Stole the day from me, honestly. Me and my missus were watching every time they cut to the wedding. She was like, oh.
This is the news, obviously, that the royal wedding happened. Unfortunately, the BBC won't let us show any of the actual ceremony. If you missed it, here's a little taste of what it looked like.
Sorry, what? Was it a nativity?
Is that meant to be the Archbishop of Canterbury's face?
Now, lip readers were employed in force to let us know what was being said by the royal family and guests. What were some of the fascinating comments detected by them? So, first of all, as Prince Charles finished walking Meghan partway down the aisle, Harry said...
He said, thanks, Pa.
He did indeed. Thanks, Pa. When Meghan arrived at the altar, she said simply...
The best. It was weird. I thought they took it too far with the Tina Turner thing, but, you know, yeah.
She said hi.
Hi?
Yeah, I know.
How much are these lip readers being paid?
Well, quite a lot when I
Millions.
tell you what the next one is.
Yes, OK.
Then Harry turned to her and, according to The Sun, may have muttered the immortal words...
You just wait till later, love.
I think it was better than that. He muttered the words, I'm shitting it.
But only the Sun's lip reader
Got that.
got that. All the other lip readers said, he said to her, you look amazing.
Imagine if he'd said, you look shit in it. If we just, who did your dress?
Nobody was sure what Harry would wear. What did it turn out to be?
A suit.
They wore frock coats.
Oh,
Yes,
was it?
frock coat. The uniform of the Blues and Royals, his former regiment. Here we are, let's have a look. Why is he wearing 6 ties as well? And as you can see there, he has his pilot wings badge on his chest, which he got for flying Apache helicopters. And it was lovely to see an actual Apache among the guests at the wedding. The day before the wedding, Harry was made a major in his regiment, the Household Cavalry.
Oh, lovely.
And if you're now asking the question... oh, so is Harry still a full-time soldier in the Household Cavalry? The answer is no, he isn't. So how has he been promoted to the rank of major?
Oh, does he know someone?
He's the son of the Queen, for
No,
God's
that's what I mean.
He's the son of the Queen. Harry?
Oh, sorry.
What are you suggesting?
That's going to be tricky on
Grandson.
on drawing them family trees.
Well done for
It's sort of
noticing
Prince
that.
Charles saying, we must never talk about this.
No wonder he was shitting it. Oh, God, if anyone finds out, let's go.
So, as a member of the royal family who has at some time or other served in the military, he gets to be promoted in line with his peer group. Finally, I thought it might be fun now to have a quick statistics quiz.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, the Bishop was fantastic. You can do the Bishop? Bishop Curry, he was great.
Bishop
Went on a
Curry.
bit, though, didn't he?
No.
He did 13 minutes.
Have you ever been to church?
No.
He was only meant to do 6, wasn't he? And then he went onto a bit of a loop, I thought, and I...
About fire and love?
Yes, exactly. And after about 8 minutes, I just zoned out, like I do when my husband's telling me how to put oil in the car engine. You know.
He actually he did that towards the end of his sermon, he did talk about the importance of car maintenance.
Yeah, he did.
Literally, nobody was
it.
listening at all. Everyone was just smiling.
No, he
These
did.
people are in love. These people are in love. Now, you get your dipstick out, right?
He asked the audience, he said, you need fire to get petrol engines. Did anyone come here by car? He actually asked the congregation.
Apparently, I heard that, yeah.
And most of them went, no, by horse.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I know you're trying to delay the start of my statistics quiz,
yes.
but fingers on buzzers, teams. What stat? There have only ever been 18 of these in existence. One was at the wedding. What is it?
A non-racist royal?
No, it is a Rolls-Royce Phantom 4 that Meghan arrived in.
Go keep the oil topped up on them.
Yeah.
So, fingers on buzzers, what did the embroiderers working on Meghan's veil have to do every 30 minutes?
They had to wash their hands
They did.
because they were sweating because they had a time limit.
And so every 30 minutes they washed their hands and then they yanked a bit of the veil down to dry them on. So that was... and finally, 500 watt and 200 watt went into what?
Is that like a really big pie and blackbirds?
Is it cakes that went out to people?
It's a cake, like a, you know, cake. So 500 watts.
500
yes.
pieces of cake, 500 slices.
No, what? It was a
500
big
cake.
cake.
Tears?
What do you
Cake.
put in a fucking cake?
Eggs,
Yes, eggs.
That's a good name for a spin-off of Bake Off.
So 500 eggs and 200
Paupers?
paupers. 200 paupers. What, like a sort of cannibal cake? Is that what you mean? It's actually Sicilian lemons.
Of course.
Do you want to have a look at the cake?
Yeah.
I can just see a pauper's foot sticking out. Maybe they had one pauper in it.
Are they meant to look like toilet rolls?
I don't know. Yeah. So, sadly, putting the quickfire quiz behind us, what were the guests treated to at the evening reception?
Iceland prawn ring, was it something like that?
They had spectacular fireworks, and after that, the strains of Aretha Franklin drifted over the grounds.
Oh dear, was she not well?
This is the royal wedding. There was, as always, a lot of speculation about the dress. Let's have a look at it. Yeah.
It's not the one.
As the happy couple came out of the church, Meghan asked Harry, "Do we kiss?" To which the answer is yeah, for about 2 weeks, but after that the magic wears off.
When he turns back into a frog.
According to the Mirror, George Clooney asked Fergie for a dance. Wow, he really does do a lot of charity work, doesn't he? During his sermon, Bishop Curry quoted from the African-American slavery song Down by the Riverside, which moved many in the congregation to tears, particularly those whose ancestors lost a fortune when the slave trade was abolished. Now, on to round two, the oblong of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams. What's the story here?
It's a maypole.
Yep.
It was put up in a village somewhere and it's been taken down.
Why?
Because someone complained about it.
Correct.
Well, why was
Well,
it?
it was a village called Bream in Gloucestershire, where they've been dancing around the pole since the 17th century. God, bet they're exhausted. The Forest of Dean Council said the maypole required planning permission because it was in front of a Grade 2 listed building and could be deemed an eyesore.
I mean, that is a health and safety nightmare, though, look at it. I mean, someone's going to get tangled in that. And you're looking out the window of your Grade 2 listed building. The one thing that always spoils the view for me is just hanging villagers. It's horrible. Just once a year, put up a wicker man, sort it out properly.
Now, in other planning news, what new landmark has been earmarked for Newcastle?
Oh, a big wheel.
Indeed.
Like the London Eye.
It will soon be home to the biggest Ferris wheel in Europe. Anyone know what it's going to be called?
Yeah, they're going to call it the Way.
The Way.
I find that deeply offensive. It's it's going to be bigger than the London Eye.
Yeah.
Where are they putting this?
Where do you think's a good place to put it?
My mum's house. Yeah, just to annoy her. There'd be a planning discussion, wouldn't there? It'd be hilarious if you sat in a living room and there was people just slowly sweeping. I'd be in there, all right, Mum. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'll swear at you when you come round again.
Time now for the odd one out round. Your four are a Dutch baby, the Duchess of Sussex's great-great-grandmother, Brian Blessed, and a cowpat at the Chelsea Flower Show. Yes.
OK, so the top one you said was a Dutch baby.
Yes.
Things are getting bad in Europe, aren't they? Well, I think that obviously looks like a Yorkshire pudding. And Brian Blessed, we know, there he is shrunk in a field. He's definitely from Yorkshire, although you could hear his birth in Manchester. So Meghan Markle's great-grandmother, she's from Yorkshire, I would guess. So they're all from Yorkshire, apart from the cowpat, which you can't tell where that's from.
This is like Poirot.
Yorkshire pudding. Yorkshire pudding's the odd one out, because it's not the Yorkshire pudding. It doesn't come from Yorkshire.
Correct.
Correct!
They're all from Yorkshire, except the Dutch baby, which is, yes, Yorkshire pudding, which isn't from Yorkshire, even though people from Yorkshire are insisting it is.
Yes.
Yorkshire people on Twitter were furious. They accused the Americans of ripping off the Yorkshire pudding after the New York Times tweeted this recipe for a fluffy pancake. What did Yorkshire's food historian Peter Breers have to say?
Yeah, you're
Not
safe.
right. The Yorkshire pudding goes back centuries.
First appeared in a cookery book called The Art of Cookery in 1747, which predates the invention or discovery of America by 29 years.
It was Mary Berry's first book.
Bless you. So this isn't the first time there's been a transatlantic row about pastry. Last year, a US supermarket launched a product called a puff dog, an amazing new culinary innovation of meat wrapped in pastry. Let's have a look.
He looks circumcised.
His balls were a bit red as well.
So would yours be if you were covered in puff pastry.
Now, Brian Blessed was born in Mexborough, Yorkshire. Why was 81-year-old Brian in the news this week?
He got very loud somewhere. No, he got very quiet. That wouldn't be news, but he got very quiet.
Well, he had been hosting a dinner for a group of around 200 pig and poultry farmers in Warwickshire when he was heckled for saying that he would ban farmers from culling badgers. What was Brian's measured response?
I definitely wouldn't do it! Don't start! Gordon's a lie!
Then he just wandered off.
His measured response was, "You're all I hope you all die of
Here all week, try the chicken!
What's a cowpat at this year's Chelsea Flower Show got to do with Yorkshire?
Was there a Yorkshire garden?
There was indeed. It is, in the words of the Times, a genuine Yorkshire cowpat, presented to Theresa May in the Welcome to Yorkshire garden.
Oh, God.
Do you know how they got the cowpat down to London?
In a cow.
It was a bit more technical than that. According to the garden designer, the turf was grown in Yorkshire. The cow did a cowpat and they dug up the turf around it.
Yeah.
Wow.
They are all from Yorkshire, except the Dutch baby, which isn't from Yorkshire, even though people from Yorkshire are insisting it is. Responding to the row, BBC Breakfast Dan Walker tweeted that Yorkshire puddings were older than America. Well, they certainly are at a harvester. Brian Blessed was speaking at a dinner in Coventry when he bellowed, "I hope you all die of TB." As an after-dinner speaker, Brian Blessed is a little pricey, but you do save on the microphone and PA system. One person who marvelled at the Chelsea Flower Show's Yorkshire Cowpat was Theresa May, who for the first time in 2 years managed not to put her foot in it. Time now for the missing words round. And we start with mums reveal new dinner party trend where what is hidden in cheese?
Car keys. It's like a new, it's like a new swingers party, and they don't want anyone who's lactose intolerant getting involved. It's ecstasy.
Yeah,
Is it ecstasy?
it is ecstasy.
Yeah.
Well done. Mums reveal new dinner party trend where ecstasy is hidden in cheese. According to the Daily Mail, the practice of putting ecstasy in cheese is known as brie-ing. Heroin users prefer Stilton as it's easier to find a vein.
What about Edam?
OK, next. The Queen's cows are so pampered they what?
Suckle directly on Her Majesty. It's unbelievable. Queen's cows are so pampered they sleep on waterbeds.
How did you know that?
Apparently, it's not just the Queen's cows. It's like, you want to watch the Country File? It's got all the news.
Finally, scientists suggest an octopus could actually what?
Simultaneously make 8 cups of tea.
Could actually just be bagpipes covered in jam. Honestly. It's from the moon or like from a comet or something.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Aliens,
Yeah.
correct. An octopus could actually be an alien. The theory is that squid and octopus DNA was brought to the Earth on a meteor 550 million years BC. That's before calamari. So the final scores are Ian and Ross have 8 and Paul and Mona have 14.
Well done.
And I leave you with news that at an extraordinary White House press conference, Donald Trump employs a visual aid to show precisely the kind of people he doesn't want in the country. In Bradford, there are emotional scenes at the retirement of the UK's last council official to be powered by coal. And at a pensioners' dance night, there's a shock for one widower as the lights come up at the end of a wonderful evening. Good night.
Plenty laughs to get you through the bank holiday weekend with BBC Three's fabulous Fleabag, available to watch now. Next here on BBC One, we all have an old flame it's best not to mention. Neil's confession causes ructions. Home from Home is next.
What a summer we have in store. The World Cup, World War III,